Welcome back to this class. In this class, we're going to be talking about flow control. Now, flow control is a really interesting blueprint. And in this video, we'll just explain what it is and how it works within Unreal Engine. Okay. So first of all, what is flow control? Well, basically, it's the order in which things will take place within our blueprint. Sounds simple, right? Cool. It's all about programming from its beginning to its end. Okay. So for many things in Blueprint, if you alter the order that they're set up in, then they're going to have a different effect. So there's something to bear in mind, and the flow control helps us with that. So basically, this is it. I'll show you by using our print string, shall I? I think that'd be the best way to do it, just so you can see how it works. So let's create a print string node again, and I'll just explain it this way. So what is this print string node? It's a functionality that, as the name says, will create a text on the screen. It prints text on the screen so we can see whether it's working or not. Okay. And we have a flow control tab. And this flow control is what's going to help the text to be produced. So we can put hello if we want to, or whatever we want, any message in there. Below here, we have some other functions such as print to screen, print to log, which is the debug log down here. But we don't really use that in this example. It's more directed to programming. This text color is the text color that appears on screen. Let me just connect this here though. So what am I doing here? Well, this is the event begin play node, an event for the beginning of the game. So when I push play, it's going to execute whatever comes after this. So what is this flow control? What does it organize? How does it organize the flow? Well, these icons are the arrows or the flow or the direction that the programming is going in. Okay. So from left to right, that's how things work in blueprints. So things are always going from left to right. First, it's going to be reading this. Then it will come to this part after it's read it. Then we need to have another node after that. We can connect this. It's going to execute it. This one and this one and this one. Okay. So let's see this one first. Let's click play, see what happens. And let me just change this here to... Yeah, let's put it to new editor. So it just opens in a new window. It just makes it a little easier for us to see. Okay, cool. So let's press play. There we go. See that? I think it's too quick actually. So let me just adjust the duration here so it stays on maybe 10 seconds. So we can always tweak that value here. Let's push play. There we go. So it's printed that message onto the screen, i.e. print screen. Okay. So we can see it says hello. And in practical terms, what is it doing? Well, when I push play, it's going to use this node, and this node, which we'll talk about later on, is an event node. Okay. Which is red. All event nodes are red. So that helps us to identify what it is in a visual way. Okay. As we mentioned in the beginning, since we're using visual language, these ways of working out what nodes are really helpful. So red is an event. Then we have the blue nodes with this F letter, and that means it's a function node. Okay. It's just a detail that we're going to come back to later, but it's good to know now. So when I push play, it will read this event begin play, execute whatever happens afterwards, and it will push play. When we push play, we'll see it happen. And in our case, it was putting hello onto the screen. Let's suppose we want to add some dialogue here. Maybe what's up? Okay, so we've got what's up and add it here. So let's put it in and let's just analyze it. So my blueprint, what am I expecting to happen? Well, when I press play, it's going to start this event, and then it should print this function, or go to this function, which is hello. Then it should see that function next, the next message. So let's see. You see it? So let me use 10 seconds here on this one rather than 2, just so it's on screen for longer. And I'll press play. There we go. So it says hello and what's up. It wasn't the right order there, was it? So we wanted to say hello and then what's up. So why is it in reverse? How does the print string work is the key. Let me push play again. So it writes hello, and next the text that shows above is what I have coming after it, but it's coming on top. So what's happened? Why is it showing almost like in the reverse way? So the reason for this is because Unreal doesn't have a way of working out time or the time to execute them in terms of its order. Okay, so it just executes everything at around the same time. So what does it do? It reads everything, then it executes it. So it showed hello and then what's up, right? So the two of them were shown on the screen at pretty much the same time. So let's see what happens if we switch them up. If our rationale is correct, then the same thing should happen. Let's do it this way. I'll connect this and this. So it should execute what's up first and then hello. Let's see. So now we've got hello and then what's up. So it's in an order that makes sense to us, but to Unreal, it's just executing a command. Sometimes there are many things that make sense to us, but in programming, you have to be very specific. Otherwise, it just won't understand it. So it said what's up first and then hello. So in order for us to control that, to control the flow, we had to just reorder the events, didn't we? We had to just flip them round in the blueprint itself. Now, obviously, this is a very simple thing to do. We're just explaining this as part of an example. But in more complex calculations, it may take a lot more just to make sure things work in the order that we need. So sometimes we use things like variables to be able to help like that. And that's the next node that we can look at. So the order really makes a huge difference in Blueprint. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll show you another node. So let's have a look at something different. And we'll just add a bit more detail, of course, to these later on. But let's suppose we expect something to happen at the beginning, to execute a function and then the other function, right? So here it's executed both of them in order, in how we set them up, but they're going out at the same time, aren't they? So let's just go back a bit. Let's say I want to create the timing. So I want it to say hello first, and then I want it to say what's up. So I need to create another node here called a delay. Let's search for that. Type in delay. There we go. And it's under flow control. So it's going to alter the flow, right? And what delay does is it just creates a short break between other functions being executed. So we'll always connect the flow controls, and they're in the right order now. Then when we push play, it should say hello. There'll be a delay for about 5 seconds. We can change it if we want to. And it's going to hold it for 5 seconds, and then it will send the next message out to the screen. So let's see. Let's press play. We've got hello. Now 5 seconds later, it should say, there we go. What's up? Got it? Cool. Now, one thing that's essential in Blueprints, a tip that we use regularly, is that we need to understand or take into consideration 3 main events. Okay. So number 1, we could say when, who, and what. So these 3 questions, we ask them, we'll be on the right track. So when do we want something to happen? That's number 1. At what moment do we want it to happen? Play mode, for example, that's when. Or from what moment should we have something happen? And then we need to think about who. Now, what's the who all about? Well, who is it we want to execute that part of the blueprint? Now here, for instance, the who is the word hello. The when is at the beginning of the game being executed. So when I push this play button, the blueprint's going to run. Who is running? This here, the print string is going to execute that command and show the hello text. And what does it do? It prints the screen. So they're the 3 questions. We'll evolve this as we progress in the course, but it's really good to understand the when, the who, and the what. So it all makes sense when we put in this together. At the moment, our logic makes sense in our programming. We've shown Unreal Engine what we want it to do. And as we've seen, we have to do this in a step-by-step method. It's really a powerful tool, but it is still a machine. So if you don't explain it exactly, it's not going to work properly, is it? So we need to just remember it's not quite human just yet. So here, when would be the beginning of the game. This prints the word hello on the screen. And here we have something almost like a second event, which is the 5-second delay. And then that's going to run for that period of time. It will run this second one then afterwards with another message, right? So let's have a look at some examples of when. Some examples of when are when you push play, when a character touches something, when some time has gone by. Let's say you want a blueprint of the object at a certain moment. Maybe it should be dark at a certain moment in time. Then we can affect that. Okay, so that could be our when. That's a really good function actually, which I'm sure we'll come back to in the future. But Unreal understands that and it waits for the time before it runs the next part of the blueprint, which is in standby effectively. So these are examples of when. What about who? Well, that could be anything from a character, a door opening. It could be a sound, a video that's played even. It could be anything that's an actor really in our blueprint. So they're examples of who. How about what? Well, what do you want the actor to do? For example, the door. If that was our who, what do we want it to do? So that would be the first blueprint we create. The when is when the actor comes close to it. We want it to open. So when the character is approaching it, we want it to react. The who is the door. And the what is its rotation at 90 degrees. What do we want it to do? So these are the 3 answers that we need to create a blueprint for. Now, it's a bit obvious, but it makes a lot of sense when you make advanced blueprints, okay? Sometimes there are chains of events that we need to consider, take into account. For instance, when is a character in our scene, when are you going to click on a light, for example, for it to turn on? We need to create an event for that, don't we? The character clicking. We have to create this interaction first, and then the character will be able to interact with it. So we need to set everything up so when the character does come near, he can press the functions, right? Okay. Well, that's it for now in this class. We've talked about flow control. So now we can go a little bit further and deeper in our knowledge in the next class. See you soon.